there was one thing. The one thing that surprised me was that there was women from the city doing the same thing that we're doing about housing, and in our country areas. They were interested. What surprised me was they were more interested in growing gardens and adapting them gardens to where they're living at than they were over crime or violence, because that's something they say they live with every day. That's something we don't live with every day, and they were surprised with it.
And can you tell me one thing you learned in the last 2 days? I'll give you time to think about it and look at Joseph here for a minute. Hey, Joseph, what's up?
Where you're from, or who you are, what your financial status is.
Casey, what did I say a while ago?
We're all human beings. We all have the same feelings. Thank you. We basically have the same ideas.
And my last question is, what was the most important thing for you in the last 2 days?
I got to work with Gwen Braxton again. She taught me a lot when I went to the NCNW Institute in Loveland, Ohio. And I was really hoping that I could work with her more. And I didn't know she was coming. I had hoped she would come. And when I seen her, I was just thrilled, because she taught me more in the week that I spent there than I have learned in just about my whole life.
Tell me one thing you learned in the last 2 days.
I learned that something that I hadn't really quite realized to the extent that it doesn't matter where you're living, in a city or in a country. We, all of us, have the same issues. We worry about our neighborhood. We care about education for our children. We all trying to work toward the same goals in different ways, but it all come down to the same thing. And I feel like I really learned a lot from all these women. I really did. And I feel like a sense of pride in every one of them. Pride in their self, pride in their community, and pride in their groups. I think they're all very special women. Any woman that's working so hard, working against the government, the state, the counties, but still accomplishing things.
And my last question is, what was most important? What was the most important thing about our experience of this 2 days?
The most important is feeling a connection with every one of those women that I've been around the last 2 days. I don't know, it's not like meeting strangers. It's like meeting families, and people that I would really, really enjoy meeting again and being with them again. And a lot of issues, that, like I said, I'm new at things. I know there's some of the problems we have, in our communities. But I learned it's more than what I thought, really. And I feel like I learned a lot, and I'm very grateful for it.
I'm just overenthused
That's
to
great.
be amongst everybody. It was fantastic.
Good.
Usually you go places and you get bored, I didn't get sleepy.
Oh,
I didn't
good.
get bored.
Good.
I learned a lot.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know what urban and rural was, where we fit in. But after we drew the circle and got the holistic view, I could figure out where we all fit in.
Uh-huh. What's one thing that you learned that you'll take back to your community?
That through determination, support from the right people, that you can accomplish anything. That caring people will give you that support. Because I was very nervous So I'll always try to nurture other folks because they nurtured me. They didn't know me, but they took me in and they really nurtured me, and that always made me feel special.
Okay, and what was most important to you about the 2 days?
Finding out all the valuable knowledge that I didn't know about. It was important to me to be able to go back home and try to learn more about what they were trying to tell us and share it with others and hope that we can, broaden the view, so to speak.
Is there anything you would do differently or that you would have the planning committee do differently?
I think everything went very well. The only thing I could think of would maybe be to wear a little warmer clothes or something, depending on what time of year it is, because coming from the foothills and then coming into the mountains, so to speak, I was cold at times, but otherwise everything was beautiful. Well planned, well organized.
Great.
And like I said, I've never met a large variety of caring people. I just haven't.
Is there any follow-up to this that you would think of?
Well,
Anything
I met
in
so
the
many
future?
people that, when I thought Gwen had made a real good point when she said that you needed to start in your local community and try to build things up. And from our point of view, it'd be very hard for us to reach out to you all so far away, but we could start within that little circle at home, and maybe the few contacts that we met personally, get names and addresses and broaden our horizons that way.
Great. All right, tell me, Dorothy? All right. Can we talk to you for a minute?
Yes.
Okay, just tell me, what was one thing that surprised you about the last 2 days?
The number of people that came and shared their views, and I mean, it was just amazing that just women could get together and put a program together like this and share ideas and everything. Like I said, it was not a boring moment. It was so fascinating to be able to be a part of.
Is there any one thing that you learned that you could share with us?
Yes, like being helpful. Being in the community, lending a helping hand to people that need it, supportive, and starting with a small group and expanding, your ideas and making things grow.
And what would you say is the most important thing about the 2 days for you?
Oh, the most important thing was just meeting new people, coming to a different place, like mountains. I've never been here, and it's beautiful here, and I really enjoy the scenery.
Okay, I'm Susan Ambler, and I live in Knoxville, and I work at Maryville College, and I work with the Mountain Women's Exchange in Jellicoe, Tennessee.
And my question was, is there anything that surprised you in these 2 days?
Well, I think the way the little simulated community was set up, where you come in and, adopt a role and get a job and earn some money and, become a part of the economy was a surprise. Even though I read a little bit of the materials ahead of time, I was really fascinated with practicing, in a short time period, what a community is like, and it was like we kind of created a temporary community. And I thought that was really fascinating.
Was there one thing you learned in the last 2 days that was?
Well, I think I had a little more insight than I had before about the common issues between rural areas and urban areas, because I've tended to look at those kinds of communities as being very different, and they seem to be more similar, especially inner city urban areas with rural areas. There are more similarities, economic issues and concern about jobs and housing and the resources that are available. But also women having special concerns that you can see in both places, concerns about caring about others and their relationships with other people,
This is
Okay. And what was most important to you about the 2 days?
I think just meeting some new people and being able to bring students to participate in this as well. We were kind of a little bit different group than the rest, being from an educational institution as opposed to a community group. Yeah, that was probably the most important thing for me.
All right, now let me ask you similar questions. Your name and where you're from.
I'm Allison Cornish, and I'm from Maryville College, but I'm originally from Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay. And one thing that surprised you about the day?
Well, I thought it was really, I guess not really surprised, but it was interesting. I'd never been to a conference like this one before.
What was different?
Well, feeling that it was all women. I mean, it was, usually when I go to conferences and we talk about issues like community or, whatever, it's always like a big diverse group of people. And it was kind of neat. It was a different perspective to see it, from a woman's side and a group of women that are very diverse, and everybody here seemed they knew a lot, so I felt a little bit kind of uneducated, but I learned a lot from them, and I learned, I kind of, not really role models, but I got a lot of inspiration from listening to other women talk and seeing what they could do. They're kind of like motivation.
Any one thing you learned? Did you just tell me that? I'm trying to think. No.
Well, I guess with a little help, anything's possible. I mean, hearing the stories really helped out. Really gave me guidance, maybe some ideas, because I am still relatively young and I have a long future ahead of me, and it gave me some ideas of where I want to go and what I want to do.
Okay. And what was most important to you? I think you've already said that by answering the other two questions.
That's okay.
Okay.
The communication I thought was great. The input of ideas I thought was really important. Just, I guess, building the sense of community within the group just made the experience really a great one.
Terrific. Okay, thank you.